Well, it really is a job to know where to start. Our second return to this most famous circuit, Rhodes Minnis. I say second return, we had a fantastic meeting here last year, and where I say I don't know where to start, there is just the feeling of so much happening today. We've got a fully international class of solos, and this track is going to be something a bit different to them. World long track stars as well as speedway stars, and I'm hearing a whisper that we might even be seeing Scott Nicholls on this circuit. What's he going to make of it? What are they all going to make of it? We've got the 1000cc sidecars and a top class entry as well. They know it's a bit different. They're actually driving downhill. It's not just flat circuits, straights and bends. And then of course added to that we've got the under 21 championship, which I wouldn't want to try and predict who's going to win that one. It all adds up to being a fantastic day, and there's a few little sideshows almost that are going on. We've got a lot of old riders that have turned up with old machinery, and I just feel that what are they all going to make of this fantastic circuit? Because we know we've seen them going out in pre-75 meetings, we know we've seen them out on demonstrations, etc. But I just feel that today there is so much happening. It's a superb venue. It looks as if the crowd have responded to that. We've got a great crowd here, and I, at this moment in time, would not want to predict who it is that's going to do the winning.
Brothers who rode in the Southern Centre during the 1950s was John and George Gould. Now, they also came down here to Kent racing on a regular basis, and you've got one of their machines.
Yes, I've got one of their machines. I'll just go briefly back to Ron Taylor was like a speedway style rider and a showground specialist, but the Gold brothers, they were more sort of grippy riders, and they were very, very good riders on the big rough circuits, and of course there were a lot of right hand bends on the tracks in those days, and their bike's slightly different style, very comfy, big seat on it, and they won a lot of money, those boys, and they did race in France as well in the late 50s, and they built their own machines, and they were very popular riders. And you'll notice on the board there it says that the Long Newton meeting, 13,000 cheers for Gold's, the headlines. So you see the big crowds of the day.
Now, of course, the newspaper cuttings in the front there, 13,000 people for Gould. Of course, that was Long Newton Aerodrome back in the 1950s.
Yes, I think that was before the Grand Slam, which was the biggest prize money meeting from 1961. I think, apart from the Nationals, the Long Newton Laurels was the biggest grass track in the country for prize money. You see Dennis Goodacre came down from Lincolnshire to ride there and all that, and early pictures of Don Godden riding there, and it was a big meeting of its day, and big crowds. Now,
one of my favourite riders of all time, I used to like watching Bill Bridget race. And of course he rode number 72, 1968 350cc champion, and you've got a machine here from the great Bill Bridget.
Yes, this is Bill Bridget's machine that he would have ridden from about 1961 to about 67. When his last season or two he went on to Hagen Sand Racers. But this is an Erskine frame, and he's got a Swedish Drott 2-speed gearbox, which was extremely expensive in its day. He bought that gearbox for about £45–50 in 1957, which was a lot of money. It's a very nice handling frame, the Erskine, obviously a famous engineer of its day, and that's Bill's old bike. That's more or less as he sort of left it before he went on to the Hagen Sand Racers for his last couple of seasons. But I saw Bridget many nice battles with Brian Maxted on that machine, up in Lincolnshire, Boston and those places. And Bill isn't very well these days. He's got Parkinson's, and he has just recently suffered a slight stroke, but he's about 72 years old now.
20,000 people turn up. But it wasn't until 1951 that they had any national championships. Now, the first national championship was held in 1951 at Mallory Park, and of course Dick Tolley, which was I think the great uncle of Ryan Tolley, who won the British Under-21 Championship a couple of years back, the first year they ran it. And tell me, you've got Dick Tolley's bike here with number 27 on, if anybody wants to come and have a look. The first ever national championship winning bike?
That's correct. Of course, to any of these young lads looking, it looks like an old Scrambler, but it's a converted Road Enfield bullet frame with a Speedway Jap engine and wheels. But you must appreciate the grass tracks in those days were often even right-handed circuits, very bumpy, very undulating, and the Mallory Park circuit itself was an old trotting track. And before they tarmacked it, and Tolley won the Nationals that day and averaged over 61 mile an hour on that machine.
Well, that's brilliant. That is very rare. So everybody come over and have a look at these bikes. There are information in front of the machines. And we now move on because we got some Speedway bikes here. We got a very rare Excelsior Jap Speedway bike 1947. But what really interests me is there's been over the last 10 years a lot of talk about lay down Speedway engines and Grasstrack engines. But you have here a Wall Phillips Special Jap dating back to 1948, and it's a laydown, and we're talking, what, 50 years before?
That's correct, because I've got a passion for early machines, and I was aware that Wall Phillips had built a machine like this in 48, and when they started to appear in the early 90s in this country, I thought, obviously the old machine that Wall Phillips built had long gone, and I thought I'll wind them up a bit and I'll build a bit of a replica, which, as you see, turned out pretty good. Having some nice original photographs to go on, and a lot of work on the engine, altering balance and oiling systems as well, and I think that's why it didn't catch on in 1948. It didn't catch on. One or two others tried it, but it wasn't till, I think, Datzmann in Germany was the first in about 88, and then it came over in this country, and Martin and Alf Hagen and Paul Pinfold on the Speedway, and I think he was the first to try the leading link forks on his. But there you see a copy of the 1948 original.
Now, over behind us, you've got lots of photographs, posters, all sorts of things, haven't you? So anybody who's here today, well worth coming and have a look at your collection, isn't it? Because you don't actually come down here very often, do you, Noel?
No, I'm an idiot because I've never been to Rhodes Minnis before. And when I saw the circuit yesterday, I realised what I was missing. And I just can't wait for the racing to start.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Mr. Noel Clark.
Thanks, Dave. All the best.
A very rare machine. We want Stuart Towner in here because he knows a bit about the history of this machine. It's number 998 on, and it's a Vincent sidecar outfit. And this Vincent sidecar outfit used to be raced by Alan Jones in Liverpool. And vintage rider and a director of Wimbledon Speedway, Stuart Towner, knows a little bit about this bike because I think you found it in an antique shop or something.
Well, not quite in an antique shop, Dave, but the asking price was more in antique lines. But yeah, I found out a fair bit more about it since I've had it, and it's history's all coming together. But still very sketchy from when Alan last raced it, and who's had it since then. That's what we'd like to know.
So anybody that knows about Alan Jones, Liverpool in the 60s, and this outfit, you want to see him?
Yeah, love to. Yeah, I've already met a chap with got some photographs of it with him today. So looking forward to seeing those.
Will this actually be going today? Is anybody going to ride this in the demonstrations during the interval?
We did fire it up because I couldn't fire it up at home. But yeah, if there's a chance, I'd like to give it a.
Right, go and sign on then. Get all the other guys. They got to sign on mine before they go out there on that track. But be fantastic to see that one, and we'll see you during the interval.
Thank you, John.
In the southeast. And also we got Ron Higgins with a TRS, a Tatum Ruddle Special, and that's 161. So come over, everybody, have a look at these machines. Also Colin Packman's bike there, I see number 101. And we got various Hagens here. Dave Palmer, former South Midland champion, finished in the top 10 in the 250s, and I used to love seeing his battles against Lou Coffin all those years ago. Now a gentleman has built up a bike, one of your original Greaves, with and it's got 171 on, which is your number because you're going to be going out on the racetrack, and aren't you? You tell us a bit about this bike that you're going to be on.
Well, it was sort of, everybody said when I changed from scrambling to Grasstrack that a two-stroke wouldn't be any good on the grass. Being a works Greaves rider as I was at that time, Greaves helped me put this motor of this bike into a Hagen frame. I just went and gave the motor to Hagen and he did the rest. And from there on it was just a success. So that was the story of the bike. And to see it all come back today is pretty good.
Now you were a top scrambler from the South Midlands, and you changed over to grass, which we were all pleased about because I used to, like I said, love watching the battles against Lou.
Yes, that's right, and well, as I say, I got a bit old for scrambling, so at the age of 28 I thought I'll try Grasstrack, and I took to it like duck to water, which was very good.
Well, you realise that one of the riders that you used to race against is still racing, Adrian Kessel, down in Cornwall, so there's still hope for you to make a comeback.
That's right. Well, I'd like to. But as I say, time and age keeps up on everybody, doesn't it?
Well, we're going to have a chat to you later on, and also we'll see you on the demonstrations. The great Dave Palmer.
Thank you.
Machine belonging to Stuart Towner. And as we move across, you'll see a massive wagon in pit lane, and that has been brought down by Andy Ross's pit crew. Now, Andy Ross was a great champion, former Grand Slam star, and also, of course, national champion. And you'll see him in the pit lane, number 90 on there. And also, at the back of pit lane, there is a pickup truck, the original pickup truck that Andy Ross used to travel around the UK and abroad with, taking his bikes on the back. None of your big transits or motorhomes in those days. It was just a pickup truck, and you'll see it actually here in the pit lane, and it's exactly as it was. So his name is George Cross, and he won the national team title with Freddie French and George Wosley back in 1959. And George will be coming out. I'm not sure. I think the radio mic will come in behind these vehicles. Yes, it will. So, George, could you tell us a little bit about this machine here?
Well, I built it in '59, and I used it up till 1980. 1966, I finished racing on the grass. Went hill climbing with it, and it hasn't been run for 23 years. So, whatever happens today, we'll just wait and see.
Have you signed on yet?
Certainly have there. Brought back memories, my old friend.
You're going to be winding it on, are you, in that demonstration?
Well, shall we say that I shan't be hanging about if it's left to me, but it's a case of whether I can get the right bit of ballast in there.
Well, you need a young man who races sidecars at the moment to come on the back, do you?
I'd like a bit of young blood on the sidecar so that I don't have to keep looking down and see if they're still there.
Well, at 12:30, when we do the presentation of your riders from the past out in front of the commentary box, you're actually going to take somebody around who's had a triple heart bypass. So if you wind the throttle, then we could have a problem, couldn't we?
Well, yes, you probably could, but I'm going to treat the chap gently, because if I have any accidents with Jack, I'm afraid I've got over 200 miles to walk home.
Wonderful. We'll have a chat to you later, George.
Rightio.
Roy Woollard and Eddie Gips, and they got the trophy on display down here. This is the sidecars from 1966, and you're going to go out in the demonstrations during the interval and wind it on as well, aren't you?
I don't know whether I'm allowed to, am I?
Well, George Cross is going out.
Well, I'm going out then.
I think some of them are going left-handed and some right-handed. Which way are you going?
I'm just going to go up and down.
Is it now? Some people have said to me, is it the same track? But somebody said that it's slightly different to the original track. Can you tell us out there?
Well, it looks the same as what I used to ride on. I mean, it looks the same sort of track to me. You know, I mean, as you say, someone's told me it's different, but they said it had a kink in it. Well, I've never ridden it with a kink in it.
Right.
It's exactly the same as when I rode here before.
Okay, well, we'll speak to you during the presentations at 12:30, and then we'll see you during the demonstrations, and look forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it myself. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the 1966 champion. And we're going to close down in the pit lane here because practice is starting up, and you'll be able to watch the practice for the modern day riders now.
Well, I mentioned in the introduction that really it's all about a return to Rhodes Minnis. John Halsey, if I can just say, last year it was a bit of a surprise win, but you obviously got used to the circuit.
Yeah, the circuit was very good in the end. It was so different. You had to sort of think what you were doing. You couldn't just go flat out into the corners. But the circuit held up really good, so I suppose all them years ago when they had all the racing, it's compacted well, and it was a good circuit.
Well, obviously looking at today, I mean, a top class entry again. We know it's something a bit different, but a tough one to win.
Oh, very much so. Like you said earlier on, we were sort of fortunate that, I forgot who it was now. Colin Blackburn, yeah, come off in front of us. But we were sort of putting a bit of pressure on him, but he come off and we nipped through and got the win. But we'll take whatever win we can get, and we just hope it all goes well today for us.
Well, indeed. And Jason, if I just bring you in, there's a lot of racing this time of year, isn't there?
Oh yeah, I mean, this last week we've had sort of a couple of speedway meetings. Had a meeting abroad in Germany, which I managed to wangle myself out of. But so I'm pretty fresh this year, whereas last year we both went to Germany, and to go and do that on a Saturday night and come here today, it's tiring. So I feel pretty fit today.
Well, that's good to hear. But obviously, I think the perspective that everybody's looking at is it's hard work, isn't it? This sort of circuit.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially for a passenger, you're always moving about, trying to create drive, trying to get it to turn. You know, there's so much movement to do, and yeah, for us it is a hard day, but enjoyable though.
Absolutely. I think everybody's in for a great day. It looks as if the weather's been good to us. Best of luck, guys.
Thanks very much.
Well, obviously I mentioned that we've got a top international lineup, but I was a little bit amazed when I heard that Scott Nicholls was going to be riding at this meeting. Scott, what persuaded you to come to this track?
I don't know, I'm still trying to work out what it was now. It's nice. Graham had been on to me earlier in the year, and I had a weekend off, and he sort of kept on at me, and my dad had sort of said it'd be a good thing to do, so let's hope it was the right idea.
Well, I think it was, because I think there's a lot of people very pleased to see you back at the Grasstrack. And, you know, this is looking at being a really fantastic day with all the old guys coming here and all the rest of it. But looking at the international lineup, it's going to be a tough one, isn't it?
It's going to be exceptionally tough for me. I haven't done this for a while now, so no, I mean, I'll give it my best. But obviously, I'm here just to have a go and to sort of, I'll do my best. But obviously, I've still got the rest of the season ahead of me, so I'm not going to try and do anything too silly. But obviously, I'm going to go out there. It's a natural race. You want to go out there and race and win. So we'll see how we go. But like I said, it's been a long time since I've done Grasstrack, and this track is a little bit different to what I've ridden before. So it's taken me a little bit of getting used to. So we'll see how we go.
Well, absolutely. I know you're doing great on the Speedway Circus at the moment. Fantastic to see you here, Scott. Very best of luck, mate.
Thanks a lot. I think I'll need some.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
Well, I think all the way through the interviews this morning, I've been talking about how different this track is. Joe Screen, you rode it last year. What do you make of it?
Yeah, it's good. You know, it's a bit. It's harder in practice really when the green grass is on the track. You know, you come into basically this hill coming into it. It's so icy and slidey. You've got to be wary, and we're only getting 2 laps per practice, so it's harder to sort of get set up for the race. But I say it's all just getting into the final and sort of have a go in the final. So I think the qualifying heats will be sort of trying to get your bike set up for that final.
Yeah, and I think obviously as we go through the day, I think what you're hinting at is the track's going to change, isn't it? It's going to become a lot grippier. And, you know, thinking, obviously all the attention really is on the track because it is so different. But we can't ignore the fact that there's a top-class lineup here today, isn't there?
Yeah, there's some good riders. You know, you got to look at Calvin and Paul from last year's event. You know, but some known people here as well, sort of good German riders and French riders. So, you know, just see how I go. I haven't done a grass track for a few weeks, so that's getting back into it as well and blowing some cobwebs off.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm sure you will blow the cobwebs off.
Definitely.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Cheers. Well, I mentioned so much about the track this morning. Jem, if I could ask you really your opinion on it. You rode it last year. It is something a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You know, the new foreigners who came over here today are really going to experience something completely different. And like some of them, they enjoy themselves. They might not be the fastest, but they're the funniest. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, when we go round the sort of European tracks, you know, we do find these oddballs that are around, don't we? That, you know, we hear about these tracks in Germany, etc. And, you know, we kind of get used to seeing grass track in this country really being 2 straights and 2 bends, very much the same as Speedway.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you know, the history of this place, I mean, it's always well liked, and it's good for viewing, and it's a treat, it's a pleasure to ride as well. If you're a motorcyclist, you'll appreciate it, that it's something completely different. Yeah. And you know, I think as more and more riders get used to it, I think you'll see a lot more passing manoeuvres and you know, and a few tricks coming out of the hat.
Yeah, no, I mean, I look at it and see there's plenty of room. You know, you quite rightly say there should be a bit of changing. There's quite a few different lines, isn't there?
There is, yeah. You know, there's you can run up high, you can cut down low. The 3rd and 4th corner's the most interesting because it runs off camber the wider you go. So I mean, that does catch a few riders out.
That's incredible.
Yeah, but you wait for the high line, the dirt line, to build up, and I should imagine you see at least Paul Hurry in it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Joe a moment ago. He was saying that, you know, going out in practice is a little bit slick, the grass is still on, but as the day goes on, it's going to change, isn't it?
Yeah, it changes, and obviously we make change to the bikes to compensate for it. So, you know, we just have to keep on top of things and, you know, just go for it.
Well, you was out there in the final last year. I'm sure we're going to see you out there again.
Yeah, I hope so. You know, feeling in a good mood. So
good stuff.
Yeah.
Cheers, Jem.
Yeah, cheers.
Thanks. Well, I feel I'm actually going to feel quite a little bit of guilt now if I say that we remember last year being very, very good. It wasn't such a good ride for you, though, was it?
No, it ended in a bit of a heap. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Yeah, it's just it happened, and we forget about it now and get on with today.
Well, indeed you do, and I know that talking to the riders here this morning, I keep going on about this track being a little bit different. They're all saying that it actually rides very well. You know, I mean, we expect it's probably going to change as the day goes on, isn't it? It's going to get grippier and all the rest of it.
Yeah, it's very hard to or for Dad to prepare it with the weather that we've had. How much do you water it? How much do you roll it? So, but yeah, it's not too bad at the moment, and just see how it goes on through the day. Really, we can only live and learn.
Well, exactly, and I think one of the things that interests me is that from a spectator's point of view, it does look as if there's different lines around both of the bends, or even what could be possibly 4 bends.
It's probably because most people are making quite a lot of mistakes. But no, yeah, it probably sort of as the day goes on, there probably will be sort of one fast line and obviously a couple of lines that you need to use to pass. But yeah, at the moment it's pretty consistent, so fingers crossed it stays like that.
No, it's good, and I mean, I can't help but say that really, you know, it's not going to be easy this afternoon, is it? I mean, there's a lot of good entry here, and you know, a lot of top-class riders.
That's it, and it's sort of the track that it's not the fastest bike wins at times, so yeah, everyone's got a chance, and I'm sure everyone's going to use their head and do their best.
Absolutely. Paul, very best of luck.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot. Well, obviously I've mentioned so much about this track being a little bit different. Ivor, from a sidecar perspective, you rode it last year. Is it that different?
Oh yeah, you have to think about it a bit more, certainly. It's a very fast track, and obviously the ups and downs and a couple of bumps in it make it very interesting. So yeah, it's different in that you just have to think about it more, I think.
Well, obviously what I've been saying really all through the interviews this morning is that this is the height of our season, really, isn't it? It's a busy, busy time. I know you've been doing the Sidecar Speedway as well, but pressure is certainly on, isn't it?
Yeah, we've had 5 meetings in 10 days, the last 10 days. This is the last of them. We were in Germany last night, so yeah, the end of a very hectic period. But with the Masters coming up, and another trip to France and other big meetings, it's not much of a let-up for the next few weeks.
And Mick, if I could bring you in for a moment, because it's a change of passenger for Ivor this afternoon, but I got the impression you came back to sidecar racing through the Sidecar Speedway.
Yeah, definitely. I'd lost a bit of interest in the Grasstrack, and this Sidecar Speedway got me excited again.
And this obviously is completely different from Sidecar Speedway.
Yeah, we rode this together last year. We did all right, so I'm hoping he'll do all right this time.
Well, I'm sure he will. Very best of luck, guys. I know you're waiting to get out for practice. Hope we speak to you later.
Thanks very
Cheers.
much. Cheers.
Well, I think following on from the conversation I've just had with Ivor, Gary, it's a very, very busy time of year for sidecar racing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. We seem to have a little bit of a lull in the middle of the year, but now it's just thick and fast every weekend, and it's difficult keeping on top of the machinery at the minute.
Well, I think that was really the point I was going to try and get to, because if I think back to the Super Cup series, you know, you really did seem to come alive in the last couple of rounds.
Yeah, I think maybe the track sort of suited us a bit better. The Isle of Wight, I do like the Isle of Wight, and obviously that showed really, but yeah, I mean, we had a bit better at the end of it, and hopefully it got us a bit further up at the placings at the end as well, so yeah, we enjoyed it. That was good.
Oh, that's good. I mean, obviously I tend to think of you as being the one that prefers the bigger tracks. I mean, this is a little bit different, isn't it?
This is, yeah, it's ups and downs, and there's a little bit of bumps in there as well, and it's a bit like a roller coaster ride, really, but a fast one though.
Yeah, a very fast one.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes it interesting, that if I look at the international solo lineup, I mean, we really got a top line of entry there that, you know, you can't predict who's going to do any winning. And in the sidecars, being that much different, I mean, I'm hearing from all of them that I've spoken to this morning, you've got to do a bit of thinking, you know, but I think it could actually suit you and your machinery.
Well, we'll see. I've got Thumper back in today because it's all my other engines are all exhausted at the moment, and I'm working on them. So the only engine I've got left in one piece is the Thumper engine, so I've slotted that in for this weekend. It hasn't run for 12 months. I got it going at 9 o'clock last night for the first time running it. I fixed up the injection on it because I wanted to get that going as well. And I had problems the last time I ran that, I had problems with that. So I've had to try and sort that as well. So everything at the moment is just, is all so unknown. And I come here, I had a massive oil leak with it as well this morning. I managed to cure that. So we've just got our fingers crossed now.
Absolutely. Well, that puts another dimension on it that I hadn't even thought of.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're sweating a bit really.
Excellent. Well, very best of luck, Gary. Let's hope the engine all holds together. Let's hope you have a good day.
All right, Brill, thanks very much. Cheers.
Well, I know at this moment in time, I've got to say that, Duncan, you really are going well on your outfit at the moment. You've been out for practice this morning. What do you make of it?
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit different than what we're used to, but it's obviously it's the same for everybody today. And yeah, we've all got to get used to the track. And there's a few bumps in the far corner. We're bottoming out half around the corner, but I think everybody's suffering with that. So yeah, I think it's I think really it's be down to the fittest man today.
Yeah, I think that could be an angle, because I know really when I'm talking to the 500 solo boys, they're telling me that the track changes slightly as the day goes on. It gets grippier. They said it possibly is going to be the fastest lines on the outside. Now, they're saying that they change equipment as they go through the day. I mean, will it be happening in the sidecars as well?
Yeah, I think the difficult part today is going to be the dust, therefore we're going to have to water the track, and yeah, when we water the track, that can alter within 2 or 3 races, as you know. And so yeah, your gearing is very critical, you know, like you could be gearing for the track to be gripping and all of a sudden it becomes slick. So yeah, so we have to keep watching, and yeah, even the race before, and keep an eye on the heats and see what's happening, you know. We got to learn from each other, really.
Yeah, I mean, with our style of racing, it is basically getting through the heats, isn't it? Making sure you're in that final at the end of the day.
Yeah, without a doubt, the heats is harder than the final, you know, like the only trouble with the final, we're exhausted time we get to the final, and for the best race of the day, we're totally exhausted, but like that, yeah, the hard part of the day is there's so many here today, there's a lot more than 6 who are capable of running the final, and so it is difficult. And yeah.
I think finally the only other point I'd make is that, you know, you mentioned about the fitness and everything else. It's a busy time for sidecars at the moment, isn't it?
Oh yeah, at the moment it's just crazy. At the moment, you know, we've been to Somerset, and was at the Isle of Wight, and some were even at Bridgewater, and you know, I was in Germany and here today, and yeah, and I just yeah.
It's all go.
It is all go, yeah. But yeah, that's why we're here. I think.
Absolutely. I mean, it's an enjoyable circuit. I mean, I think that already we can see that the crowd come out. They want to see this sort of thing. So, you know, obviously all I can say, Dung, is the very best of luck today. Something a bit different, I think, is the edge we're going to leave it with.
Yeah, I think so, without doubt. Yeah, I think luck is going to play a big part today, but there's people like Ivor's very good round here, and yeah, if you can keep up with Ivor today, I think you'll be doing all quite good.
Excellent. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Hello, Bob!
I've brought out book 1, which is 1927 to 1949, and nearly completed the next volume, which is 1950 to 65. So if anybody wants the first volume, come and see me during the day, or not when I'm commentating, obviously. And I'll be working with Jim Head, your normal commentator. I shall be doing the British Under-21 Championships along with, so I'll be looking after the young and the old here on the mic. But if we can have the ex-riders, please, down to the commentary box, and we can have a chat to you. One's higher, one's lower. Right. Okay then, well, you raced on this circuit, didn't you, before you took up all these ACU duties?
I did indeed. I still remember there was a hawthorn hedge over the other side, in front of the woods, and I ended up in the hawthorn hedge with a broken leg, and lots of big thorns in my back and legs.
So you've got vivid memories.
I have indeed.
What did you actually race here?
I rode in left-hand chairs, the same as George Cross, who's just gone round in the demonstration. And it was a very, very good circuit, but for those days, but now it's a lot better, of course, because it's worked on. It never used to get worked on very much in those days. That wasn't the norm.
Right, so these days on the ACU side, it must be great to see all these old-timers back today and meet up with a few friends.
It certainly does. It brings back a lot of memories, and good ones at that.
Brilliant. Well, thanks very much, Hilton.
Thank you.
Frank Barwick, who rode the first kneeler on the grass. I've heard about you. So tell us when you raced here, and because you actually built that machine, didn't you? Tell us about it.
Yes, I built it over a period of time. I fancied a kneeler because it wasn't so far to fall. And I suppose really it inspired me to go road racing at a later date, you know, but it was good fun. And I think the last time I rode here was something like 39 years ago.
And am I right in saying you use the same machine that you raced on the grass, on the tarmac as well?
No, totally different.
Totally different?
Yeah, totally different, yeah. Yeah, it was a 500 chap laying down flat, and when I road raced I had an NSU car engine.
An SU car engine, right. Well, that's another story. And who have we got here? Is this your passenger?
No, this is John Shears. This is John Shears.
Oh, famous John Shears. Well, John, I've been reading about you, writing about you, and of course it was you and Ron Young used to wrap up all the big events all those years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, true. A pair of us used to battle it out between us, but Ron 9 times out of 10 came off first.
You were 444 and he was 111?
That's right, yeah. Yeah, well, we picked that up from way back when I first started racing. The chap that was well into it, he said, you want to pick a number that you can keep instead of keep painting new ones on. And we stuck to 444, done as well.
Now, I noticed sometimes they used to call you Johnny Shears and sometimes John Shears. What was it you like being called?
Just John Shears.
You were John Shears. Because you won the South Eastern title a couple of times, yeah?
Once I won the South East.
Once it was it?
And we won the South Midland one once. But my brother used to race with me a lot of the time, and then Johnny White. He's here today, but wherever he is. But he rode with me many years.
Brilliant. Well, it's great to meet the person. I've obviously read and seen pictures of you in the Motorcycle News, and it's nice to have met you now.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
John Shears then, another famous name. Andy Ross. Let's have a word with Andy Ross. Let's move away over here with our video man, and he's come out with his bike, number 90. And it's great to see Andy Ross. Now, for me, from the West Country, I can tell you I've got vivid memories. I remember Andy coming down racing when my brother was racing, and Andy coming to Worcester and Wellington and Yeovil. But the best memory of all I've got of Andy Ross was winning the very first Wimborne Whopper and going down the back straight and the only person to get the wheel in the air. And that was incredible. And I can remember that, 1969. Welcome to Rhodes Minnis, Andy Ross, former Grand Slam champion.
Hello, good afternoon to everybody. It's lovely to be back at Rhodes Minnis, the best track in the world.
You reckon? Brilliant.
It's Tetro may be the best, but I think this is the second to Tetro. It's a proper grass track. It's wonderful, and the crowds and the club are great. Wonderful people.
Now, of course, we're mainly talking about Grasstrack today, but you also have a tremendous record because you're the only rider to finish in the top 6 of the World Ice Speedway Championships way back in 1970. Isn't that right?
Yes, that is. That was a wonderful time, yes. And it was all thanks to a man called Mike Erskine, who came out to Russia with me for 3 months. He's a wonderful bloke. And Graham Miles. I hope Graham's here today. I hope to meet up with him.
Well, of course, Mike Erskine, another legend in Grasstrack racing, rode at the famous Brands Hatch circuit many years ago. Tell me now, you've got a lot of machines here today, including the ice bike, and I see that you've got your original pickup truck over there with your bikes on board, as though you've just arrived to race.
Yes, we found the bikes, and Bill Barley rebuilt them for me, and then we found the truck originally with the seat still in it, and so we put it all together as a tribute to somebody who I think everyone in Grasstrack racing owes something to, Alfie Ellis, who died in a very tragic accident, and Alfie was Mr. Elstar, and he helped so many people, and I've done it for Alfie, really.
Right, well, don't worry about the spray, that'll cool us down. So you're going to do a demonstration later on during the interval for us?
Yes, Reggie Luckhurst challenged me to a £100 match race, so I said, well, I'll give him the £100 because he's too good for me nowadays. But I had some wonderful races with Reggie here, and also Don Godden, particularly the British Championship, which Don won, and he was a credit. We had a wonderful race, and I'm just going to spin around a couple of laps and then hand over to my old friend Joe Hughes. He's going to have 2 laps.
We got Joe Hughes here as well, have we?
Yes, and Bill Barley, yeah.
I know Bill, yeah, I don't know Joe, but I heard a lot about him.
Yeah, he's a really good 250 rider and one of the L-Star Works riders.
And of course he rode at Tetro as well.
Joe did, yes.
Well, it's great to see you down here, Andy.
Thanks everyone on the organising committee. They've done a wonderful job, and a special thanks to the farmer who's let them have the field back. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andy Ross, a real great. And there is Joe Hughes. I remember him now, I've seen him before. And Dennis Goodacre, I've seen quite a lot of. He's twice or 3 times national champion, 350 and 500 champion different times. Dennis Goodacre, welcome to Rhodes Minnis.
Oh, it's very nice being here. Thanks to Graham for inviting us, and Mick knows it, but it's great. I've got some good friends down here, so I can get us a bed. That makes a lot of difference, mate. It's not such a long drive down then.
Well, of course, the man we just spoke to, Andy Ross, rode after you, but you rode against Alfie Hagan, etc., didn't you, and the Goulds?
Yeah, Goulds, John Gould, George Gould, Dave Palmer, Alfie Hagan, Don Godden, Stan Luck, Tony Black, you know.
Who's who?
Dave Norris, Jimmy Sill, Brian Maxted, You name it.
You can keep going, can't you? All famous names. It's great to see you here, and I'm sure that quite a lot of people are going to go after your autograph today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Dennis Goodacre, Joe Hughes, and of course Joe Hughes, like I just heard, very quick on the lightweight machines. I didn't see you much in the West Country where I came from, but read about all your exploits, and I remember you did well at Tetro one year, and great to see you down here. Did you actually race here at Rhodes Minnis, Joe?
Yes, but only in the team championship, in the centre championship. I don't remember that I ever did the Grand Slam, but I do remember coming down with the East Midlands centre team. I'm not sure how we fared, but I remember the track, and it's fantastic.
After riding at Tetro, this must be quite easy for you, though.
Well, Tetro's definitely something special, but I think as far as the UK is concerned, this has got the same status as Tetro has in Germany.
Fantastic. Of course, all credit to Graham Hurry and his team for bringing racing back to this fantastic circuit. It's great to see you, Joe. Have a great day.
Thank you.
That was Joe Hughes. We'll walk across. Follow me, Bob's video. If anybody wants a souvenir, Bob's video is recording all this. Tony Black. Right, we'll start with Tony Black, and my memories of you were 1965 at Broadhembury in a very wet grass track, and from then, of course, I saw that number 13 race a few times since then. And you're the only person, is it, to win the 250, 350 and 500 national championships. Welcome, Tony Black.
Thank you. I think I ought to give a secret away about my 250 Jap that I used to race. Nobody knows this except the person that helped me build it. And that was Peter Hart of Bailey's Engineering in Canterbury. And what we utilised was a 350 Jap, and we had special flywheels, and we altered the stroke on the flywheels from 80mm to 57.8, making it the same bore and stroke as the Ducati 250. And this won on this track, and it won on many tracks throughout the country. And
but still a 250.
Yeah.
I thought otherwise we'll strip you your championship.
Nobody had the nerve to pay the money out to have it measured.
Brilliant, brilliant. And of course, you obviously love this circuit because you went well here.
Yes, fantastic. What can you say about it? You know, and what a privilege to come back here and see it all again. We're all so lucky. Yeah.
Brilliant. Great to see you, Tony.
Thank you very much.
Tony Black, and we got Stan Luck here, the 1973 350cc national champion, British champion. Had a chat to you at the reunion at Nailsworth 2 years ago, and good to see you again.
All right, thank you very much.
What's your memories of Rhodes Minnis then?
Well, I've got one bad memory, but we'll leave that one. But other than that, no.
You obviously hurt yourself, did you?
No. No, it was brilliant. I loved it. You know, used to make the ears in the back of your head tickle.
Brilliant, and especially seeing all your old friends as well. We've just got a break in here because we urgently need a passenger for Colin Blackburn, sidecar number 25. Come on, Jim Head, you just give me this piece of paper. Do you want some leathers, Jim?
I think the answer to that is no.
Yeah, so I'm sure that... anyway, anybody want to be a passenger for Colin Blackburn? Then he needs a passenger. How about you, Stan?
No, thank you. No, thanks.
Right, who we got here? Let's move across. Thanks, Stan.
Mervin Price.
Mervin Price, number 77, former national champion in the lightweight classes. And did you race here very much yourself?
Yes, favourite track. It was very good. Suited younger people in them days, you know. And not now. We're getting a bit too old. Yeah, I like the track. Very good.
Well,
we always got paid sixpence a mile to come down here.
Sixpence a mile to come to Rhodes Minnis?
Yes, and we got 4 gallons of petrol for £1, so we always made a profit.
Fantastic, thank you very much. Right, we just have a chat. Mick Noakes, Mick, we got the parade going on here, so should we carry on talking or not?
Yeah, I think we should carry on talking. These are the rather enthusiastic ones. They're going to ride the bikes before they're interviewed. So I've just lined you up a nice half dozen top right-hand sidecars. So if you'd like to step this way, they're all ready for you.
Right. Right, then you better take.
No. Mick Humberstone.
Right, let's take me along. Right, first of all, then we've got Mick Humberstone. Mick, let's have a chat with you. The former Grand Slam winner, Mick Humberstone from up there in the East Midlands. Good to see you down here.
Yeah, I can't. Just a bit steady.
You pleased to be here?
I'm very pleased. It's a beautiful day, and you know, you can't beat it, can you? You
No,
can't
that's-
beat Kent.
And you had great memories here?
I had some frightening ones, I'm afraid, on that corner.
What happened?
Well, you come over that bloody hill, mate, and you couldn't see out underneath you, and it was terrifying.
And you still won?
And it's worse now, I think.
You don't fancy a go today, then?
No, not really. I started to have a go on one of the big ones, but I'm satisfied with what I had. I had a marvellous time coming down Kent. Thank you very much.
Well done. And there's Reg Luckhurst going by, I see. Oh, Keith Chapman, Dennis Teasdale's passenger. Yeah. Well, of course, you're almost like one of the newer brigade, aren't you? Because you were not so long since you were racing.
No, that's right. We finished I finished 1981. Yeah, we won the championships in 81. That was when I finished. Yeah.
I don't know whether you heard just now, but we put a call out for Colin Blackburn. He needs a passenger. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Right. And what did? Sorry.
Somebody wants a passenger. Do you fancy it today?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, Jim. Jim Head. Keith Chapman will do it.
Dennis can go on.
That's how. Dennis Teasdale. I suppose you used to race against Richard Peabody, who Jim Head used to passenger for.
That's right. Yes, we used to race against Richard. Yeah, and a lot more of the other guys that are here today. So it's looking for a good meeting today. Hey?
Well, 1970 was when they last had the Grand Slam. Were you racing then? I thought you weren't racing. Yeah, well, did you race here?
No, I've never raced at this track. It was one track that I missed out on, and I'm so disappointed.
What do you think of this circuit then?
This is brilliant. I wish I could ride it today.
Brilliant. Well, it's great to see you all the way down from Yorkshire, isn't it? Yeah, that's right. Winterburn.
Whitaker.
John Whitaker, sidecar driver. Yeah. Sorry, it's getting a bit noisy out here.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, I remember you from the East Midlands.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, we came here. I can't remember the track like this, but I can remember riding here.
I should imagine this is a bit different to the tracks you had in the East Midlands Centre.
It is. Up and down here, flat around our place.
What did you think when you came here?
Brilliant track. Wish I was on it.
Brilliant. Nice to see you here, John.
Thank you.
That's John Whitaker, one of our top right-hand sidecars from back in the 1970s. And who we got here?
Cecil Taylor.
Of course, the man who now lives in France, Cecil Taylor, of course, winner of both the 1000cc and the 500 national titles. Are you over just for a few days, are you?
Yeah, come over for the week. Gonna go and visit Tunbridge next week. Watch Tunbridge, visit a few relatives and friends.
Well, real legend. What was your race number? 700, was it? It was big, wasn't it? You can't remember, can you?
780 Triumph it was, the last one I used. But I had a 1000 Jap one time I used.
1000cc Jap you used, yeah?
The V-twin Jap, which was very fast, but it was very old and we had a lot of problems with it, but it was good.
Now, I've not been over to any of the racetracks in France, but they don't have anything like this, do they?
Yeah.
Do they?
You'd be very surprised. I think it needs, like Graham's been to see the Morris S Club ones and Lariol, San Macaire, and they are very, very professional. The things are done very, very professional, and that's all I can say.
Fantastic.
They can learn. But today, I see Graham's worked so hard. It's as good. It's as good as any international I've seen.
Now, you must have raced here with your 1000cc before you went over to 500s.
Yes, yeah. Yep.
Enjoy it, did you here?
Yeah. Very good, I raced against, I think we raced against Hunter and Mick Webster here, in the old days.
I remember them, yes. Well, you're a real legend. Great to see you back over here in the UK, Cecil Taylor.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. We move across, who we got here?
Graham Hancox.
Oh, yes, Graham Hancox, yes, with that helmet, like Ray-Am, the road racer, with the pattern around the top of the helmet.
That's right.
And 398?
391.
391, that's it. I knew I'd get caught out.
It was the same number.
Yeah, of course, very much a Midland Centre rider.
Yeah.
But you came down here, you and Mick Adams were a couple of the first ones to actually come down here, weren't you?
Yeah, we rode here regular. Yeah, good circuit. Loved it.
Of course, in those days, it must have been a long way up from the Midlands down here to Kent.
Well, yeah, but in them days you could come through the middle of London. Now you can't, so it wasn't too bad. No, travelling's quite good, really. Yeah.
Well, it's great to see you here, Graham.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Enjoy your day.
I will.
So we got Graham Hancock. Gerry Wheeler's arrived. Who else we got behind me? You're Johnny Bryant,
Yeah.
not Jim.
That's it, not Jim.
You know why I said that?
Yeah, I do remember
Because
that.
it was on your sidecar outfit, right on the front. It says John Bryant, not Jim.
Yeah, because I got sick and tired of being called Jim, you know what I mean? I really did. Every report was Jim Bryant, and I thought, who's he? You know.
No, I noticed that on the front because there's some good shots. Gordon Francis from the Motorcycle News took some pictures of you, and also Nick Nichols, and I saw that, and I thought that's quite amusing. That is.
Well, they used to try and get me in coloured leathers because they said I wasn't very photogenic, always dressed in black like all these pretty boys, you know. But I wouldn't do it. I wanted to wear black.
Of course, you were from the Eastern Centre.
Yeah, but I used to spend a lot of time down here because the meetings in the Eastern Centre were rubbish. You know, tracks were bad. Tracks were always very good down here. So
this is absolutely fantastic here.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to race here?
Oh yeah, loads of times, yeah, and done my share of winning.
Any memories?
Yeah, great. Yeah, with these boys here, quite a few.
Brilliant. Good to see you there, John, not Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you, John Bryant. That is. Yeah, Gerry Wheeler. Can we let's have a chat to Gerry? Gerry Wheeler. And we see Gerry a bit because he's in the West Country anyway, and you're out there with the Westlake. Great to see you back on track, and I suppose demonstration time during the interval. You're going to wind it on for us, aren't you?
Well, I'm hoping to be on 2 cylinders then. I was only on 1 just now. Incredible, isn't it? After all these years, 30 odd years since I was here, and then you get on to 1 cylinder.
Well, never mind. Well, you're going to be working on the bike, are you?
Yes, that's what we're doing, yeah.
So you'll be trying to get up some good speeds during that demonstration later?
Well, I shall enjoy myself, I'm sure. And I'm sure everyone else will as well on this wonderful track.
It is absolutely sensational. And for younger spectators here, of course, 1970 British champion.
Yes, but that was a long time ago.
Greatest.
We got a little bit more circumspect now.
Well, I have to say you've done really well because you've actually got in your original leathers here with Gerry on the front. You do well. You must keep fit.
Well, I try, yes, but then, you know, being a poor man, I can't eat very well.
So you're looking for some sponsorship?
Well, I wasn't going to mention that, but I will.
Wonderful, well done, Gerry. Where's George Cross? Where's George Cross? Bring George in, come on, George. Now, 86 years young, George Cross, you saw him going around. 1959, he won the team championship with Freddie French and also George Wosley, I think it was. Yeah. And, well, welcome back. And have you got that young passenger so you can wind it on, have you, during the break?
Well, I'm trying to find somebody. At present, I'm having a little bit of trouble with the old machine. It doesn't like parade laps.
You want to put the throttle open?
Yes, yeah. And I keep falling asleep, so, I mean, you can't go far with that, can you?
I've heard all about you. You're supposed to be a real character, and I'm sure that I'm getting that picture now. I think everybody here is getting that picture.
Would you mind repeating that?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So you've come back again. You were here last year. You really love these reunions, don't you?
I wasn't here last year. This machine hadn't been out for 23 years.
Also in for a treat today.
Oh, it's got its birthday today. I'm still getting rid of the spiders, and I think the odd mouse had crept up there, and it's spitting a bit, you see.
How long ago did you actually use this machine?
1980.
1980. And it's a Triumph, isn't it?
It's a Triumph, yeah. But it's given me good service. I built it in 59. Last race it on the grass in 66 at the National up at Spofford. Then I did a bit of hill climbing with it, as I say, and it's on petrol today. Can't afford methanol. And
you're all pleading poverty, or you lot?
Oh, I am, yeah. The only thing I can afford is another crate of beer in the back of the car.
Oh, you got a crate of beer? I'll be around later. Yeah.
I always said...
Should we all go around the back of his car in a minute?
See, you're all welcome. As I say, I always had a reputation of having a crate of beer in the back. Everybody said, Georgie, you still got a crate? And I said, yes. So I thought, well, we better not disappoint them today. So there it is, and it's got a very special brew on board too. I'm not going to say too much about that, because I might have to use it in the bike.
I'll be around to see you later. Roy Woollard, 1966 Grand Slam champion, and he's brought the trophy out here as well. Hold the trophy up for our video man. There he is, Bob's video. And, well, and Eddie Gyp's your passenger as well. And great to see you here. Have you been out on that bike yet?
No, there was a bit of a mess up, I think. We were supposed to go round, and they just went round the outside.
Oh no, you're going to be doing your demos during the interval.
Yeah, well, we'll have some of that. go around carefully, sort of thing, you know.
Well, you actually won the Grand Slam here back in 1966. What's your memories?
Well, it was something out of this world, to be quite honest, because you have the laurels, you do a lap of honour, and the crowds down here used to be fantastic. I mean, the amount of people that used to come up to you when you got here first thing in the morning and say, "You're going to win today, Roy," and I used to say, "Come back at 5 o'clock and I'll tell you." But the crowds were fantastic down here. You know,
Brilliant. Well, of course, good to see a good crowd today as well.
Yes, it looks pretty good here, you know, but it is a really terrific day, I think. Well, it's going to be a terrific day.
Brilliant. Well, it's great to see you.
Anyway, thanks for asking me.
Yeah. And Vic Hyland, another right-hand sidecar, was it? Left-hand to start with?
Left-handy, but I used to mix it with the right-handers as well and do the...
Not at the same time?
Oh, no. At those days, we used to be able to wind the bikes either left or right. So we used to do in the Midland Centre, we used to do the Eastern Centre, Southern Centre and the South Eastern Centre.
I'm sure some of the modern-day sidecar boys down there in the pits listening to this are listening to quite intrigued that you do left-hand one week, right-hand another.
Well, that's right. We had a separate set of bars and we used to virtually wind it over. And as you probably know, when Lyddon opened, I was the crazy goon who went round with the Woody Grass outfit. That was the time when Derek Minter opened it, and Lyddon first got opened, you know.
Yes, because you rode your Grasstrack outfit there, and because they tarmacked it, didn't they?
Georgie Cross was the man who brought me down there and said, "I'll show you the way round," you know, and that's it. He's been showing me the way ever since.
Brilliant. It's great to see you.
Great.
Thanks very much, Vic. We had Luckhurst.
Microphones don't work so you can get a bloody lot in a crowd and take a big photo of all of them, is it?
Yeah, we'll put them all together for you in a minute so you can take a picture, I'm sure, before we finish. So, gentlemen, don't run away yet, because a couple of the gentlemen want a picture of you all. Now, the first Grand Slam, the second Grand Slam, the third Grand Slam, it was all belonging to Reg Luckhurst, and you'll see all the winners in your programme, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and we have that great man here now, Reg Luckhurst. Welcome, Reg.
Thank you. Yes, what a lovely afternoon, and nice to see everybody here today, just like old times when I first rode here in 1957 on a Tiger Cub and slowly progressed to 500. And then as the young man just said here, I won a few of the Grand Slams.
You certainly did. And of course, if I remember rightly, a country music star as well. You had a hit record, didn't you?
Oh, yes. Your cheating heart will make you weep. Hear cry and cry and try to sleep. That's enough.
Well, yeah, Mick Noakes, our secretary. Where's Mick? He's a country music fan. Do you enjoy that, Mick? And Reg, I saw you actually. You were doing some practice with the modern day bikes. I thought, what a brave fella.
No, that's not a modern day bike. I made that for my son back in 1980.
Right, so you were out there. So you can actually race in the meeting, are you, in the under 21 championship?
No. The under 60s maybe, or just over 60s rather. No. Let the young boys race. I'll just have a little ride around and tootle around, yes.
Now, if I remember rightly, there's a speedway track called Lydd Speedway, and I believe that it's only a few years ago you were starting to win races again, back in the late 90s.
97, yes. Malcolm Smith and his young son built the track. I helped him out. And they said, "Come down and have a ride." I said, "OK." So I got there and they said, "Well, you've got to be in the meeting." I said, "Oh, don't be silly." I said, "I'll just ride around and show them what to do." So I rode the whole season down there, won the over 40s championship and was third against the youngsters.
And of course, famous rider with Wimbledon Don Speedway team.
Oh, yeah. Wimbledon for me was wonderful because I had 10 seasons with them, and you know, when you think of the great riders and the Glamour Club, and you know how Wimbledon used to win everything in those days, and how it's gone now, unfortunately. No, we had a great time. We had great racing, and this Grasstrack down here. This was a great racing track, and most enjoyable time of my life.
Now, talking of Wimbledon Speedway, Barry Briggs used to ride at Wimbledon Speedway, and of course Barry Briggs and Born Knutson actually raced here at the Grand Slam meetings, didn't they?
Oh yes, I was riding for Southampton at the time. Brett Briggo and Nutty were down there, and Darky Blackford said, "See if you can get them all to come up here." So I said, "OK." So we got them all up here for the Grand Slam, and then Knutson rode for a couple of seasons up here, and he won the South Eastern Championship one year here.
Brilliant. Well, it's great to see you, and we'll see you doing that those demos during the interval.
OK, thank you very much.
I see we got Dave Palmer, we got Mick Garrett, we got so many people out here, it's just unbelievable. Brian Neville then, a top 250 rider in the southeast. But you've come a long way to the Grand Slam today, because Mick Noakes just told me that you're actually over from New Zealand.
Yeah, we're over on holiday from New Zealand for 4 months.
Well, you picked the right time to come back here.
Fantastic weather, you've got here. I might come back. There's a good chance. It's lovely to be here, and it's lovely to follow so many of these old stars that we've got around the track at the moment.
When did you actually race here, in the 60s?
Yeah, probably now 30 years since I raced, but I remember all the names and all the stars. They just aged a bit, that's all.
Still young at heart.
Yeah, I'd like to be young at heart, but I think I've passed it as well. I'll give it to the youngsters to go, eh?
Well, you have a great time, great to see you. And you're probably the furthest traveller to come from New Zealand here today, so well done.
I'm looking forward to it as well, looking for racing.
Fantastic. We got Dave Palmer talking to Dennis Goodacre. We've spoken to Dennis Goodacre. Dave Palmer, if I can butt into this deep conversation here with Dennis Goodacre, 171, Dave Palmer. And of course, I remember the fantastic battles with Lou Coffin in the Southern Centre. And of course, a former top scrambler who turned to Grasstrack and turns up at these reunions. And of course, you're going to go out on a bike that's been built to the original format to when you raced, aren't you? It was your bike, yeah.
And Dave Hemsley has done it up very, very nicely, and it's a credit to him. In fact, I sold it, it wasn't in that condition, so I was pleased about having a ride on it again. And I would like to thank the club for inviting us, all of us, I think that goes on everybody, for this every yearly. So anyway, thank you very much, and thank you.
Right, I've just been getting the nod here from Mick Noakes, I think. Mick, have we got to finish now, haven't we?
I think we have. I think Bob's out of tape or whatever it is, actually, so we're just going to finish.
Right, well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you're going to see quite a few of these riders have some demonstrations later on. But if you can all gather round, riders, if you can all gather round for some photos, and if anybody wants to just quickly take a